How Milton Obote died, the quiet end of Uganda exiled president. From power to exile, the final days of revolutionary leader who never returned home. Milton Obote, Uganda's first prime minister and twice elected president, died far from the land he once led. His shadow of political exile, a man who once stood as a towering symbol of Ugandan independence, nationalism, and later authoritarian control, passed away quietly in South Africa. His death marked the end of era of turbulence, war, and contested legacy. But how did Milton Obote die? What became of the man who once fought for African liberation, only to be overthrown not once but twice? The road to exile. Milton Obote fall from power. By the time Milton Obote died, he had already spent nearly 2 decades in exile. His second presidency from 1980 to 1985 ended in chaos when General Tito Okello overthrew his government during a time of intense political instability and armed rebellion. Uganda's spiraling into conflict with the Yoweri Museveni National Resistance Army gaining ground. Obote fled the country in 1985, seeking refuge in Zambia, where he was granted asylum by President Kenneth Kaunda. It was his second time in exile, the first being in 1971 after Idi Amin staged a military coup. But unlike the first time, this second time will be permanent. Life in Zambia. The exiled president in Lusaka, Zambia capital, Milton Obote lived a low-profile life. He never gave up the dream of returning to Uganda, but the door to politics had long closed. His political party, the Uganda People Progress (UPC), struggled without him. Uganda had moved on under Museveni's long reign. Obote remained a polarizing figure associated with two civil wars, human rights abuses, and economic collapse. His health began deteriorating in 1990s, though he continued to write, advise his dwindling base of supporters, and criticize the Uganda government from afar. His influence had significantly waned. Obote was no longer the political lion of Uganda. He was aging, ill man watching history rewrite itself without him. How Milton Obote died, illness and final moment. Milton Obote died on 10th 2005 in hospital in Johannesburg, South Africa. He had been flown from Zambia to South Africa for treatment of kidney failure, a condition worsened by hypertension and diabetes. He was 80 years old. His death came after weeks of declining health. According to close family sources, he was in and out of consciousness in his final day, suffering from complications linked to his failing kidney. Effort by his wife Mary Obote and children to get him medical attention in South Africa came too late. He passed away quietly, far from the country he once ruled and reshaped through both vision and violence. After his death, controversy and legacy. Milton Obote's death sparked a wave of mixed reaction in Uganda and abroad. Some mourned a leader who had helped deliver independence from British colonial rule in 1962. Others remembered the brutal years under his leadership, especially during the second term, when the political repression and state violence surged. Uganda President Yoweri Museveni, his long-term rival, allowed his body to be returned to Uganda for burial but did not grant a full state funeral. His remains were flown back to Uganda. A relatively subdued ceremony was held in his ancestral home in Akolodongo village in a park district northern Uganda. The legacy of Milton Obote, a divided memory. How Milton Obote died may have been physically peaceful but symbolic. His death left behind questions that still stir Uganda political memory. Was he a national hero or a power-hungry dictator? Was he the father of Uganda independence or the man who broke its democracy? Even today, Milton Obote's legacy is still debated. He introduced common man character, a national key industry in a push towards socialism. He led Uganda through two major political transitions, but was also accused of serious human rights abuses, including mass killing during 1980 to 1985 civil conflict. He founded the Uganda People Congress and shaped country's early political identity. His death closed the chapter of Uganda political history defined by coup, ideology, war, and the dream of Pan-Africanism progress. Final thought: the Revolutionary War, who never came home. Milton Obote died not with a bang, but with a quiet sigh. There were no gun salute, no triumphant return, just a frail man, far from his homeland, his dream unfulfilled. Like many African leaders who rose during the independence era, Obote's stories were one of idealism, corrupted by power, of liberation, overshadowed by control. He died in South Africa, but the truth had died long before. When exile became his only option, Uganda never moved forward without him. Thank you very much.